Welcome to the full docket. So what are we talking about today? Today we've got a really special guest, somebody that I personally have worked with for several years, and that's the CEO, Sachin Bakhai, over at LAWKPI. And I thought it was important for us to have someone like Sachin on here because for those of you that are in administrative roles, management roles, C-suite roles over at law firms, understanding KPIs and analytics is something that is absolutely crucial to be able to effectively run a law firm. So, Sachin and I have worked very closely together over the course of the last couple of years, as the things he's going to talk about are things that we now use at our firm. And we've worked together for these 2 years to continue to bring about new metrics. And I'm excited every time he's going to roll out something new. So you'll get some benefit, I'm sure, today, and some understanding about why his product is so great and why everybody needs to run these law KPIs and analytics for their own firm and use the data that you already have every day to create meaningful reports to be able to efficiently run your law firm. So let me go ahead and without further ado, bring out Sachin in here and let's start to have that conversation. Sachin, how are you?
I'm great, Alex. Good morning, and thank you for having me on this podcast.
Thanks, buddy. Did you hear my introduction? Did I do a good job of saying how cool and how great you are?
Yes, you did.
So talk to me, man. Why don't you tell me a little bit about Law KPI? I know about your journey. I know, let's say this up front. You are not a lawyer. You're one of the smart people who decided not to go to law school. You went ahead and started this company. And I think if I remember your story correctly, it had to do with the fact that you were originally brought on to do something that was proprietary for someone. And then from that, you kind of decided and saw a need for it. So I think it's good for people to hear how Law KPI, I love the stories of entrepreneurs like you and I that somewhere along the way, you took a left turn instead of a right and you did something. And why don't we start with a little bit of that before we get into the analytics?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you said, I'm not a lawyer. I am a technologist, and I have been doing data analytics for Fortune 1000 companies for over like 20 years. One of the attorney in my network was struggling, and he reached out to us. We kind of built it for him so that he can actually manage his firm better. He can get back his time. So that was the whole purpose of building it. So we did it on a consulting basis. We built a few dashboards for him. And after building it, we got an opportunity to talk to at least like 20 plus different law firms in Dallas, and they all loved it. And I also had an opportunity to talk to Jack Newton from Clio. He loved it, and he connected me with this technical team, and that's how this product was born. So we are not lawyers, but we actually help law firms think about their firm as a business so that we can help them run their firm as a business.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I tell other lawyers now after 25 years as a lawyer and as somebody who's been a managing partner of a law firm for over 15 years and at this one now going on well over 10. People lose sight of that. They don't pay attention to it. Whenever I've shown people your dashboards that we use, the first thing they say is, oh my God, I had no idea I should be tracking that stuff most of the time. So I'm also a big fan of Clio. As you know, I've been using that for upwards of about 6 years now, and your integrations with Clio are really helpful. So when you help that lawyer that first time, it looks like from that you decided to grow this business. And talk about where you started to now this robust platform that we're about to see a couple of the options from today. And how did you figure from what that lawyer first needed as a non-lawyer looking at it as a business person until now what you have today and how you got to all these new reports?
Yeah, absolutely. So the journey means the product has evolved a lot over the last 3 years. So when we started with that law firm, it was mainly a lot of ad hoc KPIs that we would measure, and there was no real action plan that he had in mind. So what we did was we got like a focus group of about like 4 to 5 business coaches and CFOs to help us define the KPIs that a business should run. Because end of the day, even a law firm, the biggest assets that they have is employees, the hours, right? So making sure that they're fully utilized, making sure they're working on the most profitable cases and the most profitable practice, that was very important. And also, it was also important for the law firms to make sure that the employees have like a good work-life balance. So they're not just focusing on just billing hours. So that was the key behind us coming up with different dashboards. So we have dashboards based on various different roles. And end of the day, right, if you don't measure, it's very difficult to know whether you're moving in the right direction or not. So that is what we help them with.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this from a lot of experience working with older and younger lawyers and lawyers in the middle like me. Uh, eh, we're creatures of habit. So the reality of being able to provide something like this that is so innovative and so new has to be dumbed down, even though lawyers in general are very smart people, because their time is so valuable, right? That the reporting that you need to provide to them needs to be easy for them to understand, easy for them to look at, and easy for them to get in and out of, so they don't have to spend a lot of time in it. Because the first thing when you tell somebody we're going to run some reports, we're going to give you these options or whatever, it's like, oh my God, do I have time to look at that? How am I going to read it? How am I going to apply it? So why don't we, without further ado, my friend, I know you're going to do a share screen with us, and you're going to start with showing a little bit about the law KPIs and the login and how you get in there. And I think this stuff, as you talk about it, is going to be so important. We'll get into some of the nuts and bolts on what it is that you see. But boy, I think this is going to be really informative to a lot of lawyers that don't run these things, to have them understand at the end of the day, we're running a business. It's not a nonprofit. We got to run a business. We got to pay bills. We got to look at collections. We got to do all these things. So I see that you went into here on your demo, and you're going right into the firm insights page. So why don't you tell us a little bit about this landing page, Sachin, that you opened up to?
Right. So this is one of the dashboards, and this is one of the key dashboards that I recommend that every firm should measure. So let's walk backwards. And let's say if you want to be like a $5 million law firm. So in order to be a $5 million law firm, if you walk backwards, how many leads do you need each week? How many leads by referrals? How many matters do you want to open, close? So we have about like 15 different entities that we recommend that every law firm should measure, so that they get a full picture of which area of the practice is actually struggling and what is working. So in this dashboard, it kind of gives you a quick view of things that are in your trust account operating, your AR outstanding, how you're tracking against your year-to-date billing, year-to-date collection. But the most important is on a weekly basis, you want to set up goals. Okay, so how many leads do you need? How many leads by referral? And then you track against your goals on a weekly basis and a month-to-date basis. So red, yellow, green, it makes it very easy to know which area of your practice is working, what is not working. For example, if you're crushing your leads goal, but you're not opening enough matters, there's a problem, because the leads that you're getting a lot of volume, but the quality is missing. So that is something you want to take it back to your marketing and make sure that they don't attract the wrong kind of leads, and making sure that the lead to hire, the cycle is shortened as short as
And
possible.
let me jump in there, Sachin, because as I go through this, which is I love this, right? And as you know, I'm a big user of your product. This to me is really important, and I want people to understand something real quick. It's 2024. None of this is manually entered additional information by anybody's staff at a law firm. These are data pulls that LawkAPI does from your existing case management platform. So, for example, my law firm, we use Clio. All of this comes from you pulling from a combination of Clio Manage and Clio Grow, correct?
That is correct. For this dashboard, you're
Yeah,
absolutely
yeah,
right.
yeah. I want to make sure, right? Because the last thing we want is for anybody to think, "Oh no, my God, look at all that stuff. I have to manually go." And no, you don't have to enter anything. This is all data points that you believe, as you told me a few years ago. And you're probably tired of hearing me say this, but as you said, you're like, Alex, if there is a field in Clio with a data point, we can take it, no matter what it is, and create a report or if as needed. So custom fields, existing fields that are within there. So, for example, leads, open matters, and closed matters. Yeah, you might be able to look at there and say, you know what, the leads might not be working, but your C-suite, your admin might look at that and say, well, hold on, actually, maybe we're just not getting good conversion rates, because maybe the lead is coming in on a Wednesday, but we're not addressing it until the following Monday. And that might be an answer, right? So you might have a decrease in opening matters simply because you're not getting to the leads fast enough. So tell me a little bit more about this data that we're looking at. And I want to stress again, this is all things that come from the existing case management platform.
Correct. So it's all automated. All the data is refreshed on a daily basis. And one of the things that when talking to law firms, what we found out that most of the law firms would look at these numbers quarterly or maybe 6 months, and that's too late to make any adjustments, right? If you need to reach your revenue goal, if you look at information on a quarterly basis, it's too late. So we encourage them to look at it on a weekly basis just to make sure that you are sailing in the right direction. And a lot of times you have a significant growth, you're adding more people, so we give you the ability to adjust your goals real time. So whenever you go and adjust your goals in Clio, it will automatically reflect here in the dashboard. So it's not a static dashboard, it is a real time dashboard that you can actually tune it the way you are progressing within your firm.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's extremely important. I know there's some integrations that also can be done with QuickBooks, for example, as financial software, but a bulk of the stuff that we're looking at is really on this one in particular is just Clio data points that come out. And I notice if you scroll down a little bit more on that, you have your year to date numbers. Talk a little bit about that because this landing page I think is important for this too.
Yeah, so this is basically every what we recommend, and actually I'm going to show you in a different dashboard. It's the operations dashboard, where this is a dashboard that kind of gives you a little bit more of an operational data, and it gives you the opportunity to look at it how your firm has been growing year over year over the last 3 years. You can look at these numbers by the firm, by practice area, by attorney, any combination you want. So that is extremely important to see how you're trending year over year. Also, this is the attorney utilization report that we encourage that everybody should have a target, right? You have a target against which you can measure each employee. Each employee could have a different annual billing target and non-billable target if you're doing a flat fee, if you offer flat fee, so that you know what is their production each week, each month. Most of our clients, they run this report and we have automation in there so they can schedule it. So most of our clients, they will run it, they get it like 8 a.m. first thing Monday morning, they get a report of how the team performed the previous week. So they can understand, okay, who is overworked, who has capacity, and who is actually falling short of their target, so that they can make adjustments accordingly.
Yeah,
So looking
it's
at it.
funny. Yeah, it's one of the things. Sorry, Sachin. One of the things you just mentioned when you get that weekly report. One of the things that I know that a lot of lawyers still do, even though I bark and tell them it's the worst thing you can do is to not bill your time contemporaneously, is that if you don't enter your time until the following week or you're late on it, it throws off the reports, and you may be telling a partner when you're looking at analytics that you're not busy or that you could use some more work simply because you didn't enter your time in. So, and that's something that when everybody enters their time in on a daily basis and you run those reports and your system allows for those reports to be broadcast. So you don't even have to go in to these half the time. You can just literally broadcast a report to yourself Monday morning, 5 a.m. While you're having a cup of coffee, comes into your email and you can look, as you said, at the week before. I want to mention something that you and I have talked about was not your intent originally, but something that I've told you on how I use your reports. I actually use them a lot for compensation, for us to be able to use these reports in order to determine both ahead of time how somebody can be compensated, and then along the way to be able to calculate bonuses for individuals, to be able to set targets for individuals for effective hourly rates, for utilizations, for collections, to be able to see which clients they're working on the most. I have found your reporting to be fascinating because of the additional information that I didn't know that I needed until I got to you. So now you're on this build versus collection and some other stuff. Talk to me about what we're looking at now, Sachin.
Yeah, so this is also important. Like a lot of times, law firms have contractors or folks who are not on their payroll. So it is extremely important for them to understand what they are billing and collecting by each user. So this report kind of gives you year-to-date information. All our reports, you can actually toggle between data and chart. And whenever you do it, it gives you additional information like what is the expense amount. If there were any credit issues, you can see the credit issues also. So this is extremely important to your point that if you want to calculate bonuses or any compensation for employees, it's important for you to know how much of the bill amount has been collected. So most of the calculations, we recommend that they do it based on collection of all the bonuses related calculations.
Yeah, I've found that small and medium-sized firms, a lot of them, when it comes down to these things, they're very, very, very deficient on being able to have real, actual metrics, analytics, and KPIs that you then use either mid-year or at the end of years in order to determine compensation increases or potentially very bad conversations with people that you have to let them know that they just can't be here anymore. or that, you can continue to get ahead. As you said, quarterly and semi-annually may not be enough. Weekly reports and monthly reports that you receive that be able to tell you the efficiency, the productivity of individuals. And listen, the other side of this too, Sachin, that I've seen from this is it also helps you decide that there are just certain clients that you don't need to be having anymore. It's not just about your employees. You may see a client that's habitually paying late. It's not valuing the legal services that you're providing. Is not ascending enough matters compared to the efforts that you're putting in, and or you're tracking and you're seeing they're sending work to other places. It's a really good holistic way, I think, to look at the law firm.
Absolutely. This is another very important report in my mind, is to understand your average case value by practice area, and typically how long does that case stay open in your system. So this kind of breaks it down by practice area and gives you an opportunity to see, okay, what, are you making enough? Does it make even sense to you to continue pursue those practice areas, or it makes sense for you to refer them out? Or maybe if certain practice areas are growing, it also gives you an opportunity to say, okay, maybe I need to add more resources in that specific practice area because it's growing. And some of the obvious ones that, if a specific case should take like 3 months, but on an average, you're spending like 5 months to close that matter, maybe that is an opportunity for you to dig down deeper and understand where are you losing on efficiency? What can be done in order to make sure that the cases are closed within like 2 to 3 months for that practice area?
Yeah, one of the things that I've really enjoyed seeing from that is how you can take so much of the data and these reports that you are able to provide off of this, and then just having KPIs in general to manage your employees, manage your clients, manage the firm, manage and steer the ship to certain ways. So for example, at our firm, we've known for some time now that there was going to be an increase in construction defect work in the state. And a lot of that was about us being able to target in certain areas to be able to increase that, while we were looking at other areas that we were going to expand into or pour into and say, you know what, that might not be the right time. And I credit your reports for us to be able to see some of that very information in real time, that we're able to look and say there's an uptick. Look at the amount of cases that we're opening in this particular area. Let's look into that. And it's really been seminal, I think, for us to be able to run a law firm. And to the point where now, if I find out that there's a lawyer, whether a friend of mine or just somebody I meet, that is not running analytics or doesn't do something even remotely similar to this, I tell them they're losing money. I tell them they're not running their business correctly, and that they need to be able to have something like this. Sachin, talk to me if there's anything else here that you want to show us. I know, listen, you got all these tabs up there. I know we're not going to go through all of them, right? Because
There's a lot of information that
a lot.
we can share, but I just want to take this opportunity to share this one last dashboard. It's the firm outstanding, because cash is king, right? So it is extremely important for law firms to stay on top of their receivables, and also depending on the firm, a lot of times the partners or the supervising attorneys are responsible for making sure that they reach out to their clients where they have the relationship. So all our reports, you can actually run it for a specific attorney, and it'll show you the outstanding for that specific attorney. So John needs to focus only on his clients, and making sure that he's on top of the collections. And also we have automation where you can say, okay, what, show me or send me a notification where my collections are in like 31 to 60-day bucket. So it's better to catch it early on rather than wait till like 90 plus days, because the longer it gets, the chances of collections keeps going down. So that is why we really encourage that they have a dashboard. And also if you have multiple clients, it consolidated for you. You can look at it by practice area. You can look at it by at the invoice level. When you have multiple invoices, you know exactly which invoice to follow up on. So staying on top of their collections is also extremely, extremely important.
Yeah. So scroll up for a second. I do want to get back to that one more right there where you say have outstanding amounts by clients. The ability to be able to scroll down a little bit, Sachin. I want to go to that outstanding amounts by clients, because that's one when you are, and this is important, you said that you can broadcast a report. Again, whether it's law KPIs, whatever analytics, you got to be able to have something automated. It's 2024. And the fact that you can get an automated email, say in the middle of the month, and you decide, you know what, on the 15th of every month, I'm a partner at such and such firm, and I'm originating $1 million a year in revenue. I need to know in the beginning, in the middle of the month, who's late, who hasn't made their payment. Who needs to get a phone call or an email from me before my own billing department comes to me and tells me that my aging is getting high? And who do I need to reach out to, right? So in your example here, I might want to call Slade Lynn or send Slade an email and say, hey, you know what? You got $11,208 owed to the firm. That's 60 days overdue. I really need this payment to come in this week, or we need to have a conversation. And that, I felt, has been something that has been really, really helpful, because we all know who pays quickly. Right? I can tell you off the top of my head who are the clients that when we send an invoice, they're paying within 24 hours to maybe even just a few days. And I can also tell you who's milking us as if we were a bank and trying to hold us out for 60, 90 days while I've still got overhead coming in. So I think this is something that to be able to be broadcast to people, I find that it's been really helpful. And to be able to send it to my own partners, to be able to actually create dialogue and communication with clients as a result of automation. Sachin, I think you've really been onto something here for some time. Talk to me about what you see then as far as the future of LawKPI, or what you see as the future of reporting. We're going to have you back. We already decided that we're going to have you back in the future for sure. But maybe talk a little bit about now that people have gotten a chance to see what's out there. Where do you think this is headed as you continue to grow your business?
So I think the more information that we can actually give it to the law firms by the role, like whether it's at the CEOs or the CFOs or the managing partner or the attorney, and making it a little bit more transparent, because a lot of the law firms initially, before they're working with us, they would not share a lot of information with their employees. And that is changing. So now it's extremely important to provide the transparency so the employees also understand, like, if they have an opportunity to work hard and grow, because money used to be a motivating factor. It is not the only motivating
I agree
factor
with that.
these days, right? So the work-life balance, the quality of the matters that they work in, that is also very important for employees, right? And as you know,
Listen,
right,
Sachin, I'll be the first one to tell you, I went bold some years ago with a 1,600-hour billing requirement as the minimum. That is 400 to 500 hours less than a vast majority of firms. And I'll be the first one to tell you, we got a lot of individuals that I could tell that were either coming here or looking to come here, in no insignificant part because they were at a place that they were billing 2,400 or 2,500 or 2,300 hours, and they were getting burned down and they wanted to slow down. So I was getting a different mentality of individuals that were coming into the firm, right? People that were not necessarily, not that they weren't competent or they weren't working hard, but they were coming in with a mentality of we wanted to slow down, and it was too much. We had to adjust a little bit on how we were messaging, that reality, because the work-life balance became such a big deal. I think that people weren't as interested in the money. They wanted a place that they could be happy, that they could work, but they didn't necessarily need to partner track, and they didn't necessarily need to make $500,000 a year. And maybe they have a spouse that works too. And so we've definitely seen a shift, and it sounds like you have too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And also, obviously, like, we cannot end any conversation without talking about AI. So AI is going to be a big piece, part of our product as well. So we are building additional use cases where AI can help them actually do a lot of the analysis for them, so that the AI can predict, okay, which practice area is going to be profitable. We're also in the process of building like a capacity planner, so they know exactly, they can actually tune their marketing, like a tab. They can open or shut their marketing based on the pipeline that they have, based on the work that they have, so that they're not just wasting money on marketing. They only are spending money on marketing as and when they need it. And they know exactly ahead of time when to hire, what type of resources to hire. So that is also going to be extremely important for the law firms to understand.
Yeah, Sachin, when I first decided that I was going to venture out and do, this and that personal podcast that I'm doing as well, I think, one of the things that I wanted to do was be able to help people, was to either educate people, have civil discussions about stuff. In this case, the law being my world every day for the last 26 years. I've met a lot of lawyers that I absolutely am fond of. Lord knows I've met some I'm not, and I'm probably not everybody's cup of tea. But what I do love is that this kind of information is stuff that people simply need to be using. And I don't think a lot of them know that they need it. And to hear your innovation going to AI, I just rolled out the AI Duo into our Clio applications here for all 27 users at my firm last week. And so my firm officially has the AI component in our system to help us from everything from prioritizing your day, prioritizing your week, summarizing a matter ahead of a client call for you, the ability to really start looking at these innovations on how we can use AI to help people be more efficient. So the fact that you're doing it in something that to a lot of people, when they look at this stuff, they probably think it's Greek, right? Lawyers are smart people. They go to law school, but you come out of there to analyze. You come out of there to write. You come out of there to argue. You come out of there to advocate. Only real experience over time teaches, I think, a lawyer that ends up in a managing role, the fact that things like what you do are necessary, right? And to see you innovate in this space, to see the AI component coming, I couldn't be happier to give you a platform. Hopefully a bunch of people watch this. Hopefully we can share this into the future as well. But I'm excited to see where you go, Sachin.
Yeah, no, I think it is important, right? Like any business, data is important for them to make informed decisions. And a lot of law firms, they were struggling because they didn't know what to measure, and after they know what to measure, they don't know what actions to take. So that is the goal of Law KPI, to make it easy for them and make it very intuitive, so they exactly know what actions to take once they look at the dashboard.
Yeah,
And
I think so. And
I'm
go ahead.
happy to have a free discovery sessions with any of your listeners. If they want to brainstorm and discuss what KPIs they should be measuring, I'm happy to get on a call with them, and they can always go to my website and schedule a call with me.
Well, that's great. Well, we're going to make sure that when this gets released out, you'll be happy to know it wasn't live. I think I told you that in advance. But when we put this out there, Sachin, we're going to make sure they get your information so they can reach out to you. I'm a big proponent of the reality of what you do, and I think, and I'll say it again, any lawyer or law firm, I don't care if you're a sole practitioner or if you've got 1,100 lawyers, if you are not in some way, shape, or form running KPIs on your business, you are a business headed to close. It is like a business who in this day and age is not looking as a law firm at how AI is going to help their firm. If you are not looking, whether you're a sole practitioner or you have 500 lawyers, you must be looking at both of those things, KPIs and analytics, and how are you going to be able to efficiently and cost effectively implement an AI into your programs, into your law firm, to best benefit your clients and to best help you maximize efficiency. So I love you talking about making decisions based on the information that you receive. You've been extremely helpful to me and my law firm to be able to do that, Sachin. So eternally respectful for you and for what you did. I'll continue to hopefully be able to amplify your voice to be able to continue to grow, my friend. And I look forward to having you back soon.
Wonderful. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, my friend. Hold on.
Right.
Don't give me a second.
All right, now end it. Close it.
All right. Well, when you say close it, just do something about summarize it. Summarize. Yep. Okay. So, y'all, I really hope that you all saw what I did here, which was an opportunity to understand. Listen, it's hard. We tried to do it in under 30 minutes on purpose. Get some information in there and get this wonderful man who has been so instrumental to my practice with respect to the information that they have, and now making that kind of information available to you and understanding that if you're running a law firm, if you're managing a law firm, that stuff is absolutely crucial. If you looked at it and you said, oh my God, I need to do it, reach out to that man. Reach out to his company, reach out to someone to start exploring that reality of analytics and KPIs. Nothing that you saw today is taken from anything other than data points that our case management platform is already capturing, regardless of whether or not Law KPI exists. So that's something that's extremely important. It took no additional man or woman power at this firm to implement the very things that he did. It just took an initiative and a desire by us to get at the information that particular company provides. So we're excited to have him back in the future, where we'll get into some of the more specific things on partner and employee dashboards that are going to provide a one-page landing spot for a partner to be able to specifically see exactly the efficiencies of their own group on one page. And you'll be able to do that whenever you want. And then individual employee efficiencies and also client and our ability to send reports to clients as well. So thank you, Sachin. We appreciate the time. And thank you for listening to the Full Docket.